Hey, how's it going everyone? This is the Anime Man. So today I'm going to discuss a particular trope that you will actually find in quite a bit of anime, and you will come across quite a bit, especially if you're looking at anime in an analytic point of view, which I do as a job, oddly enough. And that trope, which you may or may not have heard of, is called plot armor. Now, this is not talking about anime where the main plot or the main character wears armor. Well, actually it kind of does, but not in the physical sense. For those of you who don't know, plot armor is essentially when a particular character in an anime is assured and is safe from anything that happens to him in the story that could result him from getting pulled out of the story because he or she is a character that is essential to the story. Other names include script immunity and character shield. You've probably seen it a lot in anime where the main character is in this very treacherous situation. Anybody could be destroyed, anyone could be annihilated. Any character within this particular part of the story can be wiped out of the story. In other words, completely cut from the story and any further plot that progresses within that story. However, since he or she is either the main character or is an important character to the story, they don't get killed, even in a situation where anyone could get killed. Now, if you ask anybody who knows anything about plot armor or knows anything about actually properly reviewing anime and looking at anime in an analytical sense, you will find that most people will say plot armor ruins anime. A character that uses plot armor is essentially safe from the entire anime, regardless of what situation they're in. So really, there is no tension built within that character, and not many people are invested in that character within the story. Let me give you a few examples to explain. Let's start off with something that everybody knows quite well, and that if I say, I'll probably get a lot of shit talked on: Fairy Tail. Now, the main reason why I don't talk about Fairy Tail a whole bit is because I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. And unfortunately, one of the main reasons why I dislike Fairy Tail is because of its plot armor. Which, don't get me wrong, is not just a thing with Fairy Tail. In fact, a lot of shonen anime out there and a lot of shonen manga out there do use plot armor. I mean, there are countless examples of Natsu or any of the main characters that really drive the story are in this perilous situation where, you know, for example, like Natsu could have been destroyed, you know, by one character, or there's a main villain where even if the entire Fairy Tail guild go up against this one person, they just absolutely knock the fuck down because they're too powerful of a villain. But even though there is like a 3 versus 1 or a 4 versus 1 of this group of main characters versus the antagonist, and the group gets beaten down, when Natsu himself fights against this main character, he miraculously wins with the power of friendship. That, ladies and gentlemen, is called plot armor. You think that even though they just fought in like a group of people versus one person and the group got destroyed, if a one-on-one happened by then the main character would get obliterated. But that doesn't happen in such series like Fairy Tail and other shonen anime because we need the main character to build upon the story. The main character is, as the name suggests, the main character. It is the character that we follow in order for the story to progress. But unfortunately, since we are in this position where any character could die, but we know that the main characters can't die because they're the main characters and they have serious plot armor going on, it doesn't build any kind of tension. And unfortunately, before the even main meaty bits of the particular arc or the particular part of the story you're reading comes into play, you already kind of know how it's going to end. And of course, there are also other heaps of examples, but is plot armor in anime a bad thing? People who look at anime in an analytical sense and who want to explore the story of the particular anime, explore the characters and how they are based and built around the story and setting, will say that plot armor is a bad thing. Because plot armor essentially turns that exploration through the rainforest into an amusement park ride. The roller coaster may be fun while it lasts, but before you even jump on the roller coaster, you know how it's going to go. But is there any plot armor that exists in any anime which, regardless of who you ask, actually works for the anime? The answer, I believe, is yes. An example of that is Assassination Classroom, which oddly enough is another shonen anime, but I believe Assassination Classroom uses plot armor in a sufficient way. If you guys don't know, Assassination Classroom revolves around this alien who destroys the moon and wants to destroy the world next, and thus he suggests to the government of the world, or whichever government it was, that he will let this particular class, 3E, of students to kill him before the end of the semester, but in that case, he gets to become their teacher. Now, if you have seen anything about Assassination Classroom, that you will know that he is pretty much an immortal character. He moves at godlike speeds, he pretty much dodges any kind of attack that he gets, and even if he is pulled into a rather tight situation where he might be destroyed, he comes out just scathing for his life because of a secret technique that he uses. Now you might be thinking to yourself, this sounds pretty much exactly the same as the plot armor that you just told us for Fairy Tail. But I don't think so. Because Koro Sensei is an interesting character because he's not quite the main character, but he is an important character because without him, there would be no story. But Assassination Classroom uses plot armor in a kind of clever way because they don't so much focus 100% on the class trying to kill Koro Sensei. In fact, the majority of Assassination Classroom is focused more on the classmates and how they developed based on the situation that they are currently in. There are more times where Koro Sensei is treated as an ally, a super strong ally who is there just in case the students need them, rather than this enemy that is completely immortal. So yes, plot armor does exist in Assassination Classroom, but I believe it is used in a very, very clever way. Now, of course, there are a lot of anime out there that don't use plot armor, and there are some series out there that purposely don't use plot armor, but are still bad anime. An example of this, I believe, is Akame Kill. Now, Akame Kill doesn't use plot armor because, minor spoiler, a lot of characters die. If you have seen Akame Kill, then you will know that there are some characters that we follow for most of the story and then suddenly get killed off for the rest of the show. Now, a lot of people praise that, saying that, oh, it was really unexpected to see these characters that we didn't think would die actually die for real. Like, then it's not like a Dragon Ball Z situation where they die and then they come back to life in some mysterious way. But if you ask me, Akame Kill was a story that somehow used a reverse plot armor and turned the anime to shit. Reverse plot armor being like, no character had plot armor. Like, pretty much every character was just as in trouble to a deadly situation and was just in much of a threat to actually dying in the show as every other character out there. But unfortunately, I believe this reverse plot armor actually ruined the whole idea of death in an anime. We've been following these characters from the beginning of the story and really starting to learn about the characters, what kind of character they are, how they play in the story, and how they play towards the other main characters. And then having them suddenly being killed off, it's kind of a buzzkill. It's like, what was the point of following these characters if they're just gonna get killed off like that for shock value? Because that's what it was. They killed the characters off for shock value and nothing else. It was literally killed off just for people to be like, oh my god, they just fucking did that. If I were to use the analogy that I used in Fairy Tail, Akame Kill is like going into the rainforest of the Amazon and then at the end of it finding a McDonald's restaurant. You're exploring this unknown territory, exploring this story, exploring these characters and how they are built around the story and setting. And then right at the end, it's like, sorry, you don't need to worry about that anymore. This is what happens. Alright, see you later. It was a buzzkill, and unfortunately, it actually ruined the story, in my opinion, and actually ruined Akame Kill for me. If plot armor was used in this particular situation, it's hard to say whether it would have made the series better or not, but the fact that it didn't use plot armor and used death as more of a shock value rather than a way to progress the story was what made Akame Kill bad. So the bottom line is, plot armor is neither good nor bad. Plot armor can be used in a really overpowered way, like it is used in a lot of shonen anime like Fairy Tail, but it can also be used in a clever way like it was used in Assassination Classroom. The general consensus for me is that plot armor is not a good thing in anime, and I'd like them to avoid it as much as possible. Guys, let me know in the comments below, do you like plot armor in anime? Do you dislike plot armor in anime? And what are some other series that use plot armor in a good way? And what are some other series that use plot armor in a not so good way? I want you guys to let me know in the comments below. Anyways guys, thanks for watching. As always, like and favorite if you enjoy. Subscribe for more anime banner, and I'll see you guys next video, whatever I make. Keep watching anime. Tane!